Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mic Drop Show, where we talk about real estate, real freedom, and real results. Hey, I'm your host, Mike Morawski. I'm an investor, an educator, and your favorite deal sourcing, cash flow obsessed guide through the wild world of multifamily investing. Hey, from my interviews with eight-figure investors, we break down deals, capital raising strategies, and war stories right from the field to help you get better at what you do. This is the show for professionals who want to go from their paycheck to their portfolio. So if you're feeling the energy this morning, don't forget to subscribe, smash the like button, and follow wherever you're watching or listening from. If you have questions or comments, DM me. If you have a topic that you'd like to hear about or talk about, DM me, let me know. It might be the next week's topic on the show. We go live every Wednesday. This is your weekly wealth workout. All right, so before we jump in this morning, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. One is last week I had my boot camp. I had a full day boot camp, had Dugan Kelly, our securities attorney, on. We had Karen Hall on, who talked about self-directed IRAs. And we had a panel of experts on raising capital. Big shout out to Marichelle and Yannick and Kevin for being on that panel. Michael Wagman, appreciate their support. And then all day, all I did was talk about multifamily and all the moving parts that are involved. So if you're somebody who was at the event, thanks for your participation. It was a great day. A lot of questions, a lot of comments, and the feedback has been phenomenal. Really enjoyed what that day brought for everybody involved. Also, that if you had not been at the event and you'd like to grab a copy of it, reach out to us. We will definitely get you a link to the event for you to just listen through and participate in. So if you are somebody new to the multifamily space, you're looking for that education, that extra little nudge to help you move forward, definitely reach out and grab that event. If you're somebody who's scaling your portfolio and you're looking for, a couple golden nuggets to help you here this year, then definitely reach out for that as well, or DM me and see how I can maybe add some value to your network and to your world right now. The other thing is this is, big week, right? Holy Week for those of you who celebrate, and those of us who celebrate, I should say. Easter coming up on Sunday. So just want to wish you and your families a happy Easter and a great holiday this week if you celebrate it as a holiday. A little bit of family time, some downtime, maybe some great groceries, and just a good time. So, hey, we have some great questions this morning. I was pretty impressed with the questions that came in throughout the week, and how what people are thinking about in this business and in this economic environment that we're in. So the first question that we got is somebody said, they have a great income, right? They have a great job, but how do they even get started in multifamily investing based on their schedule? Obviously we all have a life that we live, right? We have a W-2 job, a lot of family obligations, and how do you slide into this business? Well, I think that it starts with commitment. You've got to make a commitment. What are you willing to sacrifice, or what are you willing to give up that you are currently doing in your life that's going to help you to get the education you need and take the action that you have to? I just brought on a new coaching client into my inner circle program. And, we just had this conversation about, hey, my schedule's so busy right now, and I'm doing this other program. I have a couple of weeks left of it. How much time do I need to spend? And I said, how much time do you want to spend? How much do you want to grow, and how much action are you going to want to take? And I really believe that that's what it boils down to for us is, making that commitment and making the dedication to the time and the effort that you need to put in. It really came down to the fact that if he spent an hour to 2 hours every day, right, and maybe an hour a day is what you can afford, go into the inner circle, watch the videos, go through the document library, get those resources that are going to help you grow. I said, we do a group call every week, come to the group session once a week, but you have to get to a place. And if you're not in a coaching program or involved in my inner circle, you have to be taking action. You're going to have to be going to YouTube and looking for information, learning, growing, and then taking action. And the big thing is, going out, finding deals that are on the market, underwriting them properly. And properly is a pretty vast word, right? Because we have to be conservative in what we do. We have to be able to put a stress test on that underwriting and see if the deals make sense, and then put teams together. I can't believe the calls just this week alone that I got from people looking for sponsors on deals. So, there are deals out there right now, and I think that the opportunity for multifamily success, multifamily investing is getting bigger and really coming back after the last couple of years. There's a lot of things that have happened over the last couple of weeks economically that we're starting to see a shift. Like them or hate them, but the Trump policies are going to affect a lot of what we do and a lot of capital raising efforts. If we take a look at what's happened over the last couple of weeks and the valuation in the stock market, what happened in the Chinese stock market, the Fed saying that they're going to reduce rates 5 times this year, all of these are indicators that we're bottoming out and we're getting to the bottom. And as we get to the bottom and we start to cycle out into the first quadrant of this new cycle, this is where you position yourself in front of the next bull run. You put the wind at your back, and it's going to help you grow your business the more action you take. So time is an issue for everybody. So how are you going to manage your time? So the second question that people came up with, hope you have your coffee this morning, everybody. If they decide, if this person said, if I decide to move out there and manage it myself, would it be like buying yourself a full-time job? Ultimately, yes. Ultimately, real estate investing becomes a full-time job. You might go buy that first deal. Like I went and bought my first 11-unit apartment deal, and I quickly became obsessed with the business. And as I became obsessed with the business, I couldn't look at enough deals. And so what starts to happen is you get that first deal under contract, you get it closed, and then you're underwriting other deals and you're starting to manage this deal you just closed, and you buy the second deal and you are looking for the next deal. The ability to grow your portfolio becomes easier with each transition or transaction that you do, each deal that you buy. And it does become a full-time job. There are a lot of moving parts. And I always tell people, I say, this isn't a business you do by yourself. It is a team effort. You have to have good, solid people around you and people that are working the business on a full-time basis and who have that commitment and that drive that you have. So, yeah, you manage your time as you move forward. So if you're in a W-2 and you want to leave your W-2, what do you have to do? How do you replace that income? It seems that all the questions this week were around time and how, and I did a session a couple of weeks ago in my Inner Circle program where I talked about time management and building your calendar around your time. But you have to block out in your calendar that time for you to underwrite, for you to manage deals, for you to have those phone conversations. And those are appointments that you have to schedule for yourself that you continually show up for. If you had a dinner meeting with your spouse or you had a dinner meeting with an investor, are you going to miss that meeting or show up? Well, it's the same thing when we're raising capital, or when we're raising capital, right? There's that prospecting effort that you have to be on the phone, you have to be marketing, you have to be doing the things that are going to help you stay in front of limited partners and be raising capital. So that's the biggest thing. And then, of course, the underwriting and the due diligence piece, all of these moving parts. And now you might not do each one of those things yourself, but you have good people around you on your team that are all moving towards the same goal. And remember this about time and time management is we only have, this time right now, we don't get it back, right? Once we spend it, we spend it. And it is valuable. So you have to make the most of your time. It's kind of funny. This morning, even I had a conversation with my assistant, Rain, and we were talking about what I got done yesterday. And she said to me, so that time that we blocked out, which what I got done yesterday was a number of calls with passive investors about investing. So she said to me, so the time that we blocked out in the calendar for you to do that is beneficial. I said 100%. And that's what we need to do is we need to block out that time in our calendars in order for us to do the things that are most effective, that are going to drive our business forward. So you manage yourself, you manage your time, and you manage your decisions that are going to move the ball forward for you. Here was the third question, and again around time, but how do we find time to underwrite deals and network when you're already working 60 plus hours a week? Well, if you're working 60 hours a week, I am going to just say cut back a little bit, right? I don't know what you do if it's a W-2 that you're super committed to, and I love that you're bought into that, right? I always say that the people that work for us, if they don't have as much ownership in the deal or in the property as we have, we're not going to get the results that we're trying to get. And that's a huge thing. So obviously, if you're working for somebody 60 hours a week, you have ownership in that business, right? You're helping that business owner build that business. Well, how do you start to convert some of that time to things that are important for you to build your business? And again, it's that commitment, it's time blocking. Networking events, be going to at least one networking event a week, meeting new investors. And I want to talk about this for a minute. So I have a coaching client that I work with that last week on our call, he said, we were talking exactly about this, about networking events. And he said, well, why would I go to real estate networking events when, all those people are already there doing the same thing I'm doing? Because that's exactly why you want to go to those events. He said, yeah, but those people aren't going to invest in my deals. I said, contrary, they will, right? I said, I have a number of owner operators of other deals that have invested passively in the deals that we own and operate. And it's because of the diversification piece. I have a number of owner operators and investors that invest in other deals and invest in our deals. So it's all who you meet and build those relationships with and build your brand with and build your trust with. So that's what you're working on today, taking you to that place where you can start to make those phone calls, start to nurture your database, start to ask people if they're thinking of investing and want to invest in your business. So, hopefully that this about time management really makes sense. But, we all have 24 hours in a day, 160 hours or 68 hours in a week, 4,200 or 800 hours in a year. We all have the same amount of time. So in order to achieve what you're working towards achieving, delegate that time properly. So time was a big issue this week in the questions and conversations. So I hope that was helpful for you. And, again, if you have questions or anything that I can do to help you, and maybe you want some guidance on or some mentorship around, hey, how do I balance my schedule? Here's what I have going on. reach out to me. Let's jump on a quick call and see if we can't maybe just give you some direction. Again, last week, if you were on the boot camp, a lot of great golden nuggets from Dugan and Carnhall and, the people on the panel, Michael Wagman and Kevin and Marichal and Yannick. And, it was a great event, a great day. And what was interesting was I learned a number of things. I learned a number of things that helped my business and that I'll be able to implement in my business to grow forward. So thanks for being here, everybody. And that's a wrap for today's episode. The Mic Drop Show, I hope you're walking away with a nugget and a mindset shift this morning on your time management. Maybe even straight up blueprint on how you're going to move forward. Maybe this helped you enough this morning that now you said, hey, I know how I'm going to be able to leave my W-2 or how I'm going to make this my more full-time business. But listen, wealth doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design and by action. So whether you're just starting out, scaling up, or leveling out, keep showing up. The more you show up, the more action you take, the better it's going to be for you. And it's a game that's a marathon, not a sprint. So this doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. Hey, if this episode gave you some value, do me a solid, would you? Smash the like button, hit follow and subscribe, and share this with somebody who's ready to build a portfolio. Maybe your partner, maybe your spouse, but they want to build a business and a portfolio and a lifestyle, not just a paycheck. They always say that if you want to live a life, have a great job, have a great income, but if you want to live a lifestyle, build a future for yourself. So hit the follow and subscribe button. We're always bringing great guests, great content to help you scale. If you've got a question, if you have a topic, if you want me to cover something or have a guest, in May, we're going to start bringing guests on. We're going to start bringing people on, talking about different topics and different ideas. Drop a comment below. I read every one of them, so I want to make sure that yours gets talked about. Same time, same energy next week. Until then, stay focused, stay cash flowing, and keep stacking those doors. Have a great day, everybody, and a great week. See you soon.